But like, why though? Hey everyone, this is Syntax and welcome to 10 Things You Probably Didn't Know About Fortnite Creative Part 3. Let's get into it. Lock devices actually work on fences and vents. I have two lock devices, one set to be active on the vent and one set to be active on this fence. Now this one has the fence start opened and not locked, and this one has the vent start closed and locked. When I start the game, I'm going to fly over here and you're going to see that lock devices do in fact affect the starting position of vents and fences, as well as they could be theoretically opened and closed in game, but I'm not having them receiving from any channel. But yeah, let's start the game and you can see. Just to prove I'm not actually opening them or locking them by myself, I'm just going to fly over to where they are. You can actually kind of see the fence already, but let me just get over there real quick. I guess I lied. The initial door position for this must be on closed, but you can see I can open this one and I can't because this one is locked by the lock device. So if you need to have a fence gate or a vent open and close or lock sometime during your map, it is possible. Instead of just doors, I guess it works on door-like props, anything that swings open on hinges. Yeah, that's pretty cool. The max amount of devices on a single channel is 75. Okay, if I am not mistaken, I actually do have 75 explosive devices set up right here. If I go ahead and click it, you can see that all of these explosive devices are on channel 5. Now, if I were to theoretically take this and try and copy and paste it somewhere else, okay, I guess I only have 74. Let's try that again. You can see that once I have 75, it will give me an error status for every device I try to place after that on the same channel. So you can see I can place as many times as I want. I'm going to get that same error message. So yeah, up to 75 devices, you'll be okay. But if you try to place more than 75 devices on one channel, you're going to get that error message. And it's actually just going to go ahead and reset the channel. You can see there's nothing there. There's almost no cases where you're going to have more than 75 devices on a channel. But if you didn't know that, now you know. Fire hydrants can still be broken when structure damage is turned off. If we go to my island settings, you can see here that I have environment damage turned off, structure damage turned off, weapon destruction turned off, pickaxe destruction turned off. Everything you could have that would damage something, it's all turned off. Just to prove to you guys, if I start pickaxing at things, nothing is going to break because, you know, structure damage is turned off. However, this does not apply to fire hydrants. If you didn't already know, fire hydrants actually have two states. It is their existing state, and then when you hit them once, they have a state that shoots water up out of the top of it, and, well, damage indestructible buildings being turned off doesn't actually affect this, as you can clearly see as I bounce up and down here. Now, while you can't break it past this point, if you're building a puzzle map or just some map where they need to have knowledge about fire hydrants, knowing that fire hydrants will still break even though you turn structure damage off, this could be pretty useful. Other than that, though, it's a pretty specific application and it's just kind of a cool thing to know. You can turn yourself into a rainbow prop. Now, what the heck do I mean by rainbow prop? Well, I have a perfect example from the Office Gallery A. If I go ahead and grab this chair right here, you're going to see that dependent on its location, the color of the chair will actually change. As you can see, we have a bunch of different colors right now. It's just depending on where you place it in the map, it will be a completely different color. This is not the only prop that this applies to. There are screens, there are things in the Paradise Palms prop gallery that do this. I'm just going to use this chair as an example. I'm going to go ahead and put down a prop gun here and watch what happens when I change into that prop. The fact that this is a thing actually kind of bothers me, but let's go ahead and change into this prop, and now you will see that as I run everywhere, I change colors as I run. Yeah, I don't really know what to say. Like I said, this works for all props that change color depending on their orientation in the map, so feel free to do some experimenting for yourself. You can actually fall through a lot of the primitive shapes. If we head to the primitive shapes gallery right here, any column-like shape that has a gap in the middle, for example this one, if you make it big enough, you can actually fall through it. Of course, what kind of creator would I be if I didn't actually show you guys that it was possible, but you can see if I grow it to a massive size, I can actually just fall straight through it and die upon landing. If you're building a map where you need a nice transition between stages or areas and you can't find anything you need to slide through, if you make primitive shapes large enough, they actually work perfectly and they change color, so you could make it whatever color you want to. But yeah, it's pretty cool. You can actually emote while flying. Now, I know for a fact that there's already a ton of you that know how to do this, but I figured I'd put it on the list just because it's a cool trick, and there might be just like a couple people that don't, and maybe they want to know by watching this video. Anyway, if you're flying and you pull out your builds and decide that you want to emote, you can actually just, emote while flying. If you try to press your emote button while you're flying, you can see my flight speed is actually just changing in the corner there, but as soon as I do pull out my builds, and then let's say I want to do a traversal emote, I can just, Do it while flying. Anyway, everyone knows that one. Let's move on. You can actually force props to be grid snapped. Now, this is a classic trick that I use in basically every single map. If I have to have a copy of a room, but I don't want to replace all the props, let me show you guys what I do. If you have building to prop turned off, as you can see it is right there, and you grab a wall, you see you get this sort of grid that is very rigid with the wall. And of course, by default, props do not have this grid, so that's where they differ. Now, what happens if you select X amount of props and then do it with something like a wall, something that is stuck on that rigid grid? Wherever you take the wall, the props will be forced to place with that wall. You can see wherever I move the wall, the props followed perfectly, and that's because it defaults to something that is on a rigid grid snap, which is the wall. If you have building to prop turned on, I just actually turned it on, and you try and do this, you're gonna see that it gets put on the same plane as the props. But if building the prop is turned off and you grab a wall with props, they will snap themselves. There is a weird aiming animation if you start without your pickaxe. Now, as you can see, I have started the game. I do not have a pickaxe. The little hand is present. And from this point of view, it does look a little strange, not very strange. You would actually have to get a friend to do it. And when your friend does it, it looks ridiculous. So when you aim in without a pickaxe, you just kind of go over their right shoulder. And when you walk, it's an extremely stiff walk. Like I said, you guys aren't going to be able to see it because this is the third person point of view. But if you do this and you actually crouch, it looks even weirder. Trust me, just get one of your friends to do it. It is so weird. But yeah, if you didn't know you could aim in without a pickaxe, you can actually aim in. If you don't have a gun, it'll just go over your right shoulder. You can crouch, do all the normal stuff with it, and it's just a really rigid, stiff walk that you do. This next one, I don't actually have a friend here to test it with me and show you guys, but you can actually get knocked while flying. This can happen at any point during your game, even before you start the game if you're just building your island. If you figure out a way to knock yourself with a grenade or by self-destructing a mech and you're flying, you go to the down animation position, but you'll be flying. I don't have any clips of it, so you're just gonna have to take my word for it, but it looks really funny. I advise you to do it with your friends. Being knocked while flying is pretty funny looking. And last but not least, you can actually have an island where it is all water. Again, this is a trick that probably quite a few of you know, but if you go up to your little island changer thingy here, you go ahead and create new islands. If you go ahead and select the Kevin floating island, when you select it, you can delete all the floating islands and it will be an all water island. So we will head into our Kevin floating island 1 and just delete all the islands. You can see right away that there is nothing but islands, so of course deleting all these will directly result in nothing but water. Now, in a map where you need water in any part, in any section of the map, you need some water where you can swim or just be in, I would advise building that map on the Kevin floating island and just deleting every island. But yeah, anyway guys, there you have it. That is 10 things you probably didn't know about Fortnite Creative. Let me know which ones you guys already knew and which ones of course you didn't know, and yeah, this has been Syntax. Later.